What is going on, everyone? This is Ninja Geek here, and in today's video, I want to talk about obviously something serious, and we're not going to play any jokes. Now, before we get started, of course, here's some Black Ops 3 on the screen right now. Don't know what it's going to be, but it's obviously some Black Ops 3 because I have tons of gameplay saved up from it. So I hope you all enjoy that gameplay. And let's get right into this topic. Now, before I say anything else, I want to point out that I did make a video, and I will leave this video and the link in the description if I can find it. I don't remember exactly what it was called, but I know it was something along the lines of the same topic that we're going to be talking about here. And I kind of wanted to make an updated video on this because there obviously a lot has happened within the past, what has it been, 2 years since I made that video, and my opinions, of course, haven't changed. It's just a lot has happened. So I'm going to leave that video and a link in the description below if you want to check that out and my original thoughts. But let's get into this, okay? So before we even start this off, I want to say that I am in no way changing my opinion to what has happened with the attacks on Paris, man. That is not my thing to call out and say. What has happened, basically, obviously, is a terrible thing. And there's just no giving back for what has happened. And I am truly sorry, as we all are, and we all should be, for what has happened. Putting that aside, that's not going to be the main topic of today's video. I know that that's basically what we're basing this all around, because this is what has happened in recent news in the last week. But after the fact of being truly sorry, let's get into what could potentially be a problem in the future with this. So, we already started seeing this as a problem. So my basic background for this is, as I discussed in the video 2 years ago, with Call of Duty Ghost gameplay on it, was that video games and media, I guess you could say in general, including music, TV, etc., movies, were mostly video games though, because that's what most people are probably watching this video for anyways, and come to my channel for is video games, is most of the things are blamed on video games, and that's just how it happens to go. That's how the world sees it, I guess. Maybe not just the world, but the, what would you say, the media, that's how they see it in general, that a terrible thing happens, like, for example, a shooting somewhere. It doesn't necessarily have to be within a school, just a school shooting, any kind of shooting, and then you look at the facts, and then everyone's like, oh, well, video games and the consoles are to blame. Well, completely disagree with that, and any gamer that truly games, and even if you're not a gamer, you could still understand where we come from, where we stand. This needs to be stopped at once, in my own opinion, because it's just a complete outlier of a statement to say something like that. Okay? It just blows my mind how people can think that way. And I'm going to not just say this and not give examples. I'm going to give examples, too. So, for example, let's say a school shooting happens, and the media immediately not immediately, but a day or two after, we let it settle in. And then they say, oh, well, we found out some information regarding this situation that just happened, and it happened to be that this shooter happened to own, let's just say, for example, a PlayStation 4, and he happened to be playing Call of Duty. Well, guess what? The news would twist that around, or maybe not so much the news, just the media in general and how the news portrays it. The social media would twist it around and say basically, oh, well, the whole reason why this happened was because of this one guy, and he obviously, and the PlayStation 4 and Call of Duty, or not even just Call of Duty in general, maybe GTA or other games thrown in there, and then they would say, okay, that's the reason why, and the case would be dropped. and then you've got the people going on explaining reasons as to why video games and movies and music and such, so on and so forth, are causing the problem for people. Now, of course, with what just happened recently in the news, it's a completely different story, because we're not talking about random people in America. We're talking about terrorists in, obviously, another country right now, as for right now. So, it's a completely different story, and people, and it's not like a speculation that we're saying, okay, well, this happened, and people are out there, and they're saying, and not just people, the social media, again, is saying that somehow, I don't know exactly entirely how, but they found out that the way that these people were communicating was through the PlayStation 4 chat, and playing missions in Call of Duty, perhaps, and playing those types of games, perhaps. Like I said, nothing has been specifically confirmed as of me making this video today on that information, but it's just speculated. It's speculations of what could have happened, but we know for sure that a PS4 console, or many PS4 consoles, were involved in planning this, and it's nothing to blame Sony for. They're not, even them, they're not blaming Sony. Okay, the news right now is completely fine, because they're not saying, oh, well, it's Sony's fault that this happened. It's just saying that they used this as a gateway into being able to communicate with one another and talk about this. Now, that's from what I've been hearing. There probably has been other things out there that show how these attackers have been planning things, but that's what I heard, and that's what I looked up before making this video on various different days and trying to piece it all together. That's what I've been hearing. So, aside from that, I want to get back on topic and explain why this what do you call it, this media, this entertainment that we know, including video games, movies, TV, etc., all that, like I've said before, has nothing to do with anything out there. Has absolutely nothing to do with causing anything to happen. Just because PlayStation 4 happened to be what they used doesn't mean that it's Sony's fault. So, obviously they're not saying that, but it doesn't have anything, it's just what they found. We just have to accept that fact and move on. What are they going to do? Have government patrolling every PlayStation 4 chat? I don't think that's possible. What are they going to do? Call up Microsoft and have them do the same thing? I don't think that's possible. Because the chats were designed to be able to talk with friends. And people do bad things. I mean, this is the real world, and we just have to accept that fact that people do bad things. So just because one person, or I guess more people now, can utilize this system in a different way and manipulate it, it's not Sony's fault. Sony just made the console to have fun, to be able to communicate with friends. It was communication is key as far as that goes. But bottom line here, there is absolutely no reason to blame video games, TV, movies, etc. for anything that happens at all, including, like I said before, shootings, anything violent that happens in our world. And people just don't see that, though. They think that video games are causing a corruption in today's society, and that is absolutely false. Absolutely, completely false. Because if anyone ever tells you that Call of Duty teaches you how to work a weapon, or GTA teaches you how to work a weapon and plan and manipulate other things in the world, then you are completely wrong. Because that is absolutely false information, and that's coming from people, those statements are coming from people that have not even played the games or see or know anything about them. And furthermore, I would like to say on this subject is that I cannot stand the news. Not so much, I guess, social media, but just the regular news in general, because they obviously show that they do no research, and I wish I could show evidence of that, but sadly, I can't because CNN ended up taking this video down a long time ago, but basically a long time ago. I'm not going to get too much into this story. I explained it in my other video that I did 2 years ago when we had a shooting here, right here in actually my own area where I live. CNN started blaming and getting doctors on their show and started blaming all these forms of entertainment as the reason for why it happened. And mainly they blamed Black Ops 2 because at the time that's when Black Ops 2 was coming out, and they even put information on there that was wrong, that says something about Infinity Ward making Black Ops 2, and they just don't look up information in general. So that's why I don't believe anything that they have to say, and that's why, furthermore, America and other countries as well should realize the fact that these consoles, I admit, can be used in bad ways. Anything could be used in bad ways. For example, I mean, these people could have even used iPhones to communicate via iMessage or something like that. What are they going to do? Blame Apple for that? No, because everyone uses iMessage to talk. It's the same thing. We're not blaming PlayStation. We're blaming the people that did it. They used PlayStation to do it, but that has nothing to do with PlayStation itself, and that goes for everything, and we have to understand that it's the people themselves. It's the people themselves that do these things. It's just the world that we have to live in. And that's basically it. It's the people that do these things, man, and the corruption, as you would say, as many would say, what would be the corruption of today's world? And then you got people saying video games, TV. No, people, listen here. It's none of those things. It's you yourself if you choose to go down that road. Your mental state. And also keep in mind the parents too, because if the child is too young and they're not taught right from wrong, they grow up in a certain way. It's all people. It's all people. And furthermore, you think of crimes and then the gun laws, which I'm not even going to get into the gun laws and how they keep getting tighter every year, in America at least anyways. America is targeting the gun as the problem, when in reality, it's the person. Because there are 95%, I don't even have to look this up, guaranteed, 95% of people who do that as a hobby do it for fun and a way of relieving stress and just because it's interesting. But then there's the only 5% of people you hear on the news that do it because they're malice people and they go out and do these things, and then it's like, oh, well, it's the gun's fault. No, man, it's the person's fault. And we have to understand and accept that fact. And I just want to end this video off right now because those are my thoughts, that it's obviously the person's fault. Sony doesn't have anything to do with it. Microsoft, like I said, they could utilize those things, but they have nothing to be blamed for, as well as everything. There's an inanimate object can't be blamed. So, you can't blame Sony, you can't blame Microsoft, you can't blame Apple, you can't blame anyone but the person themselves. And before I end off this video, again, I want to say that I, obviously, as well as many, feel truly sorry for what happened in Paris. And if any of you are watching from that area or around there or whatever the case may be from anywhere, we wish you the best of luck and to continue moving on. So that's basically my series commentary for today. Series commentary Wednesdays. Not going to start up a new series because we got our new series coming Friday, PTFO Fridays. And I'm ready to start that up. If I don't have any gameplay submissions, I have one saved up for next. But that's it for this video. Hope you did enjoy the Black Ops 2 gameplay, whatever it happened to be. Hopefully it was entertaining, and hopefully you understand and can understand my thoughts on this. So this is Ninja Geek. I'll see you on whatever my next video happens to be. I'm out. Peace.